Good evening, YouTube. Black Metal Heathen, back once again. So, my fiance actually brought up a good point, and that is in the last video I didn't really talk too much about which deities I actually work with. So, primarily I am an Odinist. I don't know why. Honestly, just out of all the gods and goddesses, I feel this very strong call from Odin. And honestly, you don't see it that often anymore. Most people you see that are, either call themselves a heathen or asatru, they usually rock the hammer, And not to take away anything from Thor or, any of those guys. Just for me, I've always felt the call of Odin, and the Allfather is the first on my list as far as who I worship. To the point where I actually wear, I don't know if you can actually see it or not, but it's the mask of Odin, and I always wear it. I never take it off, which was also a gift from my fiance. Thank you much. She's here in the background.
Hi. I look haggard, so I'm not coming on.
Today's been a rough pregnancy day for her. So, but getting back to the topic on hand, I'm a big old Odinist. And any holiday for me is an excuse to pray to Odin. Wednesdays tend to be my happy days because it is Voltan's day. And for those of you who didn't know, Voltan is the Germanic form of Odin. In fact, many days of the week we have are derived from Old Norse names, but we will get into that later. Next, I do worship Thor, because, god damn it, who doesn't? God of thunder and lightning, protector of mankind. Sort of, I know this is going to sound weird, almost kind of like a warrior Jesus in a lot of ways for our Christian friends out there that might be watching this. Jesus was a carpenter, Thor carries a hammer. Hey, there's an odd connection. But no, on a serious note, and I think most people end up having respect for, at least the realist having respect for Thor, because in accordance with the stories and the faith of our fathers, Thor always protected mankind. He would wield Mjolnir, he would crush the wicked giants and any other monster that threatened Midgard. So, I mean, he really is sort of the patron deity of mankind in a lot of ways when it comes to our protection. The third that I also worship heavily is Freya. Freya is, I feel in a lot of ways, she kind of brings, she's kind of like the other side of the coin when it comes to my particular practices and whatnot. And Odin is like the balance, the middle fulcrum. You have, Thor is the strong masculine warrior. Odin represents the balance of the warrior and wisdom. And then you have Freya, who again is a war goddess, no doubt about it. But whereas Thor is kind of like the rage, the thunder, Freya's a goddess of, she's a love goddess for one. It's something a lot of people don't know. And she's very much a goddess of, despite being a warrior goddess, she's a goddess of peace, the home, and the hearth. Now let's face it, any woman who has cats, draw her chariot. Cats, okay. Yeah, you gotta respect that. Anyone who owns cats, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So those are kind of like my big three. That's not to say that I don't have, a lot of respect for Tyr, god of justice. I went through some pretty bad shit around the end of last year, or sorry, 2 years ago. I keep forgetting we're in 2016. And I often did pray to Tyr for justice, and justice was granted to me. Freyr's another great god. Again, a harvest god, a war god. By the way, for those of you new to the faith, you will notice something. Most of the gods and goddesses have war put in there, or death. Freya, who I just mentioned, Odin, Thor, they're all war gods, and a war goddess. Also, 2 of the 3 are death gods. Odin and Freya. Even though I've talked about how she is, the goddess of the hearth and the home and love and fertility, she's also a death goddess. And a lot of people forget about that. So, like I said, for you new guys first coming in and whatnot, you will notice that. Now, that raises the question. Was it the culture of the Vikings that shaped the gods and goddesses, or was it the other way around? It's one of those things to ponder. I'm sure some of you are going to throw some comments in there, which I look forward to reading. Please comment. I love awesome discourse. If you have a reply video, even better. It'd be great to watch it. So, I think we pretty much covered all of that tonight. So, on that note, good night, everyone. Till next time, Skald.